Good afternoon, live from Valencia. Welcome to the Ferrari Challenge. Round 2 here of our 2019 season. And race 2 for the Coppa Shell cars. That, as you can see, are making their way to the grid as we speak. So our calendar for 2019, which has included Bahrain, Spain, Austria, France, Germany, and then Italy ×2. We're at the Ricardo Tormo circuit here in Valencia in Spain for this weekend. The rain is still coming down. It's been like it all day, in truth, and stark contrast to the weather conditions that we had yesterday. This 4.005 kilometer circuit, which features 14 turns, 9 left, 5 right, named after the two-time world champion Grand Prix motorcycle racer Ricardo Tormo, built back in 1999. It's played host to not only the Ferrari Challenge on a number of occasions, but also WTCC, DTM, Formula 3, GP2, SPK, and often used as an F1 test circuit too. There, the air temperature 11 degrees, track temperature 13 degrees, dismal. And the rain continues to come down. So the Hublot safety car, which wears a new livery for 2019, and that livery across not only the car used in the European Challenge, but that of North America, Asia Pacific, and in the UK as well. Hugely distinctive and cannot be mistaken as the safety car. So today's race will see Ernst Kirchmayr going from pole position. There is Tommy Lindroth, who'll be going from P5 on the grid. It's his best season, 6th in the Coppa Shell Europe 2015 with 72 points. Is this going to be an even better one for him? A magnificent city is Valencia. This circuit located maybe 25 minutes from central Valencia. And if you've never been to this circuit, or indeed the city, I would urge you to do so. Wonderful place. So, Ernst Kirchmayr is on the inside. Alongside him is Tani Hanna. On the second row, you've got Fons Skeltermayer and Murat Kuadaroglu. Then is Tommy Lindroth and Corinna Gosner, before we see the best of the AM drivers, Henrik Jansen. Aggie Smolka going from the 5th row of the grid. Winner in Bahrain, took the race 1 win, and here in Valencia was on the podium for P2 yesterday. Rain comes down. Umbrellas are up, and really rather feared for the race earlier on, the Trofeo Pirelli race, but it turned out to be an absolutely stunning race. Hope that's going to be the case with Coppa Shell also. Engineers, teams and tyre trolleys abound down there on the tarmac, of course, and wet weather tyres, absolutely. There's not one iota of a chance of the track drying out should the sun come out, but unfortunately the rain is predicted to be here for most of the afternoon. So that's what we have, and you can see the spectators taking cover wherever they can so that they can still enjoy the racing, but shield themselves from as much of the rain as possible. Some 16 cars on the grid. A man that was victorious in Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell yesterday, Eric Chung, for Formula Racing. And had an off in qualifying earlier today, which means he's right at the back of the pack with work to do. From the 8th row of the grid, you run downhill into turn number 1, the Jorge Martinez Aspar turn, and that's the car of Fons Skeltermayer going from the 2nd row of the grid. So there is the Fons Skeltermayer car, and we're going to be hearing from Andrea Bertolini in just a moment. So I did promise you that we would hear from Andrea Bertolini, and we will, talking about this very safety car.
Hi everyone, I am Andrea Bertolini, Ferrari factory driver. I would like to introduce you the Ferrari Challenge safety car. It's a new livery 2019. This Hublot safety car, it will be the same one for all the Ferrari Challenge Championship around the world. It will be on track always with the light on, and for the marshal, for the race director, is a really important car.
The all-new Hublot safety car, and the start of this race will be behind it. Because of the weather conditions, the Coppa Shell drivers will be led away by the safety car, which effectively means there is no formation lap because the race will have begun the moment the safety car leaves. So the race will be starting behind the safety car. And we'll be heading to that race start in just a few moments from now. It is Coppa Shell Race 2 about to get underway. Final checks on Tanny Hanna inside the 157 car, as you can see, with the door open. The engineers there. Wonder if there's a problem with the Tanny Hanna car. For them to be paying attention to that so late in the day. Tommy Lindroth with a brilliant start for him. He'll be going from row 3 on the grid. We're looking back from the Alex Fox car at Ken Abe in the blue liveried 107 machine. And a reminder, the start is going to be behind the safety car, so single file behind the safety car, and probably 2 laps behind the safety car. One is like an installation lap, and then Beppe Scanetti, who is the safety car driver, will increase the pace a little, and then the cars will be released. It's conjecture on my part. I don't know if that's what they're going to do, but that's what I suspect. Henrik Jansen was successful yesterday, taking the win, and he actually was quickest in qualifying today.
This is Valencia. I'm Henrik Jansen from Denmark, together with Formula Racing. We had rainy weathers today, and I'm starting pole. And it's been a pleasure working with the Formula guys today. So
Henrik Jansen then going. He's the quickest of the Shell Am drivers, and effective pole position for him means P7 on the grid because it's divided up by class. So the safety car released, the cars are released, and the race has effectively started because the clock has counted down. We're starting behind the safety car. Clearly no overtaking. And the cars will be in single file behind the safety car. Ernst Kirschmeyer is the first one of the cars you see. Then it's Tenny Hanna and von Skeltermar and Murat Kuhadaroglu with Tommy Lindroth and Corinna Gosner following behind. All the social media at the top of the screen for you. So Beppe Scanetti then, himself the safety car driver, a former Ferrari Challenge champion. And he leads the cars through what is turn number 2 and up towards the left-hand kink, which is turn number 3. And braking into turn number 4, which is a right-hander. It's almost a double apex. Right is turn number 5, which is where the cars are heading into now. We're on board with Tommy Lindroth as he makes his way through turn number 5. Then you go uphill a bit towards turn number 6. Through this little kink here. Tommy Lindroth then weaving from side to side. Turn 6, the left-hander. And then there's quite a, what was considered to be the back straight, even though there is a turn in the middle of it. And this is it now, turn number 7. But in dry conditions, that's taken absolutely flat. You might wish to be a bit more cautious in the wet. Turn number 8 as you begin to roll downhill once again. And sorry, thought we were going to do a complete lap with Tommy Lindroth, but that wasn't to be. So race having started behind the safety car because of the conditions. And in our years of coming to Valencia with the Ferrari Challenge, we have had and seen some rain, I can tell you. It was predicted today, and it has done exactly as the predictions started about mid-morning and has stayed here ever since. So my view is that the safety car will do the entire of this lap and one more and then come in. They're into the Formula Racing garage. Alan Jurgensen, team principal of Formula Racing. They all watch on screen and keep an eye on the timing screen as well. So safety car crosses the timing line now. And I suspect at the conclusion of this lap, the safety car will come in. In the meantime, we've got one car into the pit lane. And I think that's probably Tommy Lindroth coming into the pit lane, the Baron Motorsport driver. So he's parked it up outside the Baron Motorsport garage. What a great shame if there's a problem with that car, because he was doing really well in terms of his qualifying pace. And I think it might be a problem with the wiper, which is a fairly critical piece of the equipment needed for today. No word yet when the safety car is coming in, and I would have thought that if the safety car was going to come in at the conclusion of this lap, then we'd have been notified by now. Well, amazingly, we get that information on screen right now. So safety car coming in this lap. If they could get Tommy Lindroth out of the pit lane, he'd be able to catch up with the Crocodile, which is going through turn number 6. If they don't, then clearly he's going to be a lap down. So the car's going around turn number 8 now. The mix of Coppa Shell cars, the Shell drivers and the AM drivers. Ernst Kirschmeyer, the quickest of them. Tanny Hanna, P2. Von Skeltermar, P3, because of course the race is continuing, and the classifications are as the cars are in order, with Kirschmeyer leading from Hanna, Skeltermar, Kuhardaruglu, Corinna Gostner and Henrik Janssen, Christian Kinch, Alex Fox, Agatha Smolker and Ken Abe. So lights go off on the safety car. It will peel off to the right-hand side, and the race is on now. No overtaking until you pass the safety car line. And the car's screaming to turn number 1 for the first time of asking, in reality, in terms of proper racing, if you like. So Kirschmeyer, Tanny Hanna, then it's Von Skeltermar and Murat Kuhardaruglu. Corinna Gostner has already been in the wars in race 1. Should be hoping for a better time of it in race number 2. Just looking there, I think Tommy Lindroth did make it out, but I'm not convinced. Although, no, timing screen is saying he's still pitted. Here comes Christian Kinch on Corinna Gostner. So Christian Kinch in the 128 car chasing the Corinna Gostner car. Both Christian Kinch and Corinna Gostner both riding in the Shell class. There's Von Skeltermar, P3, ahead of Murat Kuhardaruglu, and 132 is the Henrik Janssen car, who we heard from just a short while ago. Put the car pole position in class and is currently P5 overall, but leader in the AM class. And disappearing up the road is Ernst Kirschmeyer and, to a degree, Tanny Hanna. Although Ernst Kirschmeyer has built up a reasonable 1.1 second margin over Tanny Hanna. A very disappointed Tommy Lindroth walks away. Whatever was wrong with the car has not been able to be repaired, so he ends up not in this race. Back end of Tanny Hanna's car just breaking away a little bit. It was controlled well by him, so Ernst Kirchmeier then into the final turn. Tanny Hanna gets a bit closer. Back on the throttle again, both of them breaking away from von Skeltermar in P3. So we've had one retirement, and that being the car 127 Tommy Lindroth, and Eric Chung is in the gravel, and I suspect where that car is situated, that could mean a safety car. So yellow flag at the moment at turn 12. Now, that car is not going to be recovered from there, so sure enough, a safety car is called for. So, how did Eric end up in there? Oh, it was actually the car in front got a wobble on. Eric then reacted and ends up in the gravel. So, it's as we were then. With the safety car back out again. Plays into the hands potentially of Tanny Hanna, who will feel that he'll be gifted the opportunity perhaps to get on better terms with Ernst Kirchmeier. So Eric Chung, of course, and also Christian Kinch we're seeing on our timing screen as having dropped way down the order. There's Tanny Hanna, and here we'll see. Sure enough, Christian Kinch gets sideways and loses it on the painted section and connects with the tyre barriers. That means that's two cars to be recovered then. So we've lost Christian Kinch, Eric Chung, and Tommy Lindroth. So this could be quite an elongated safety car period with two cars to recover. Now, of course, there's not only one recovery crew. There's always more than one, but it's just going to take a little bit longer than first anticipated, because the Eric Chung recovery was quite an easy one. There, the safety car waits to pick up the cars, and does so right now. So let's take a look at an emotional clip then of the weekend so far. Welcome back live. That was just a challenge show clip. We are behind the safety car for the recovery of the cars of Christian Kinch and also Eric Chung. Cars making their way through the final turn. And there, the 159 car of Matthias Moser. So at least one more lap with the safety car, that's for sure. The order in terms of the two classes: Ernst Kirschmeyer, Tanny Hanna, von Skeltermar. The 1, 2, 3 in Shell, and in Shell Am, it's Henrik Janssen, Alex Fox, and Agatha Smolka. The safety car is coming in at this lap, and lo and behold, Tommy Lindroth is back in to the race. Now, we actually saw Tommy Lindroth walking away from the car, but whatever was wrong with the car, they have fixed it, and therefore Tommy Lindroth is back out on track. Great to see. He's doing his best to catch up with a crocodile of cars, of course. But the safety car will be coming in this lap, which means we're going to have about 15 minutes of racing to come. And Tommy Lindroth, he's but within a corner of catching up with them now, so well done to the Baron Motorsport team for getting Tommy back out there when he was heading out of the garage. Ernst Kirschmeyer doing some vigorous weaving from side to side to try and generate some temperature into those tyres, and there comes Tommy Lindroth around the turn there, turn number 11, to catch up with the crocodile of cars. It's going to be a couple of laps down, but there we are. It's a great shame, actually, because Tommy had qualied really well. So safety car heads off into the pit lane, and Ernst Kirschmeyer then leads Tanny Hanna away. And through the Merck and the Mire comes von Skeltermar and Murat Kuadaroglu, P3 and P4. Murat Kuadaroglu getting quite close to von Skeltermar then. And also troubling Murat Kuadaroglu is Henrik Janssen all over the back of the 133 car. So Henrik Janssen, one to keep an eye on here. Agatha Smolka goes around and gets very gently T-boned by Alex Fox in 134, but manages to get the car going again, and that's good control across the grass, but loses out on a huge number of places. Well, that could have been so much more difficult than it was, and credit to all the drivers for being aware of Aggie Smolka turned around, and it was just the gentle of taps from the car of Alex Fox that just made the lightest of contacts to the side of the Aggie Smolka car. Well, like last time around, and I say last time around, when the safety car came in following the safety car start, Ernst Kirschmeyer got about stretching his legs straight away and has done exactly the same, building up a comfortable margin over Tanny Hanna. In fact, across the first 5 places, there is a gap between all of them. And Kirschmeyer then sets fastest times in Sector 1 and Sector 2, unsurprisingly. And there is Eric Chung, who sadly will take no further part in this race. His car out, and that's a great shame, having done so well earlier on in the weekend by taking the win in race number 1. Still a long season ahead. So Aggie Smolka has returned, but has returned in P12, which is P5 in the AMS. In into turn one they go. Very different lines from Tanny Hanna and from Ernst Kirchmayr. Of course, to ensure that he's not affected by the spray coming off the Ernst Kirchmayr car. What it does, it probably compromises his speed a little bit because he hasn't got the ideal line into turn number one. Nonetheless, being able to see is pretty important. And there is Tanny Hanna. Can't stress just how difficult visibility is. And in fairness, it's made a bit easier by virtue of the fact of the gaps that have been created between, as you can see, P1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and even 6 now. Ernst Kirchmayr is the one that benefits from being the first car running and therefore not affected by any spray in terms of cars ahead of him. "12 minutes of the race remain. And Tanny Hanna, who has raced not only in the European Series but Asia Pacific as well. In fact, if memory serves me, he was at the Melbourne Grand Prix where the Asia Pacific Series of the Ferrari Challenge were supporting. Here's von Skeltermar P3. So Henrik Janssen did get ahead of Murat Kuhadaroglu. We didn't see that, but he is ahead of the 133 car of Murat Kuhadaroglu. Fons then suspension compresses as he brakes hard for the final turn, which is turn number 14. And there Henrik Janssen goes through as well. So Ernst Kirchmayr P1, Tanny Hanna P2. The margin between P1 and P2 is 1.6 seconds. But then there's a further 6 seconds between P2 and P3 and the rest of the pack. So Henrik Janssen is the best of the AM drivers. He is leading the Shell AM classification and running in P4 in the race overall, but he's as close to von Skeltermar as any of the drivers out there in the first 5 or 6 places. Now, if we've got a problem for Corinna Gosner now dropping down the order, or whether Laurent Demouz and Ken Abe have just made their way past, whether perhaps Corinna made a mistake or just had a moment. There's Murat Kuhadaroglu being chased down now by Ken Abe in that car, the 107 car. I love that electric blue color across that car. Laurent Demouz is just behind those in the number 145 car. So there is Corinna Gosner for the Anico MP team. And is this maybe where Corinna carried too much speed? That played it into the hands there of Murat Kuhadaroglu. But of course, there were others that benefited. So we picked that up correctly, that Corinna had an error, and that's why cars dropped down the order, and around goes Murat Kuhadaroglu. And good avoidance by Corinna Gosner. Now tries to get back out onto the track. All of a sudden it becomes very busy. And Murat doing his level best to don't get stuck there. If the car gets stuck on the curb, we've had it. But no, he managed to get it off the curb. So Murat continues. That was a big slide from Murat Kuhadaroglu. Oh, and Giuseppe Romelli in avoidance, of course, clattered into Alex Fox completely unintentionally, but he had to move out of the way to avoid collecting or T-boning the Murat Kuhadaroglu car. There's Tommy Lindroth. And Aggie Smolka there in the 186 car with Thomas Gosner ahead. So the battle for P4 in the Shell AMS between Alex Fox and Agata Smolka. There's Corinna Gosner having returned from that little off. So the order is Ernst Kirschmeyer, Tanni Hanna, and von Skeltermar. So this is how Agata Smolka got past Alex Fox. It was a good move, Aggie. Well done. So go back to my roundup of where we're at. Top three in Shell drivers, Ernst Kirschmeyer, Tanni Hanna, and von Skeltermar. Top three in the AMS, Henrik Jansen, Laurent Damouz, and Giuseppe Ramelli. There is the Canaib car. And there is Laurent Damouz, ahead of Giuseppe Ramelli and Corinna Gosner. Confirmation of the standings for the top 6 places in Coppa Shell. Kirschmeyer, Hanna, Skeltermar, Abe, Gosner. Corinna being daughter, of course, of Thomas Gosner. Our race leader. As we see the standings for the AMS on screen, Jansen, Damouz, Ramelli, Smolka, Alex Fox. The leader of the race in both Coppa Shell and in the order overall is Ernst Kirschmeyer. So, some 2 3/4 seconds ahead of Tanni Hanna, who is chasing in the 157 car, but of course is having to protect what he can see, as well as getting not getting too close to Ernst Kirschmeyer. And I just think that Tanni Hanna is being very sensible here and realizing that he doesn't necessarily have the pace to make a clean pass on Ernst Kirschmeyer, and to get close enough to be able to do so is really going to compromise his visibility. So he's choosing to bank a P2 rather than throw everything away in the quest for P1. The lap times between the two of them are virtually identical, but Tanni just deciding to chuck it sideways a little and have a little slide around. Brilliant to have that in slow-mo. So here's Ernst Kirschmeyer then, who's not really put a foot wrong. And very nearly into the final 5 minutes of this Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell race. Ernst Kirschmeyer climbs uphill. He did, of course, have a spin on the penultimate lap of yesterday's race, not wishing to put the commentator's curse on his fine racing prowess at the moment, but it dropped him from P2 to P8 in the race overall and P5 in class. So it's not all over until you see the checkered flag, in truth, but I suspect that Ernst will have learned very hard from that lesson yesterday. That's where the final turn 14 is doubly difficult, because not only is that wide sweeping turn, but you're going downhill and heavy braking at the same time. It's very easy to unsettle the balance of the car. And it's at that very corner where Ernst lost it yesterday. His last lap was significantly quicker than Tanni Hanna's, but Tanni did some sliding around, in all honesty. So 3 laps, I think, we will be able to get before the conclusion of this Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell race. From here, the drivers head off to the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg at the beginning of May. Quite a short circuit. There is Giuseppe Ramelli, who's P3 in the AMS. Laurent Damouz is P2 in the AMS. And it's Henrik Jansen who is leading the AM classification in the 132 car, which is running P4 in the race overall. So Laurent Demouz and Giuseppe Romelli, well, the times and the margins between Laurent and Giuseppe are seesawing a little bit, but I think Laurent has got more than enough in reserve to be able to hold on to that margin that he has. Where Giuseppe may have an issue is with Corinna Gosner. Now this is Alex Fox that's gone around and was just avoided by Matthias Moser. There have been some rather near misses, but thankfully that's what they have been. So Alex Fox then in the 134 car. So under braking, the back end breaks away. And that's kind of the worst place to be stopping, isn't it? Because you're right across the track, broadside across it. It's very good avoidance by Matthias Moser. That has changed nothing in terms of the top three across the standings. Here's our race leader, Ernst Kirchmayr. Now, on the last lap, Tanny Hanna went quicker than anybody in Sector 1, but I fear it's all utterly futile because with a 3.6 second gap, unless Ernst Kirchmayr makes has an error, then there's no way on pace, based on pace alone, that Tanny Hanna is going to be able to get on terms with Ernst Kirchmayr. Makes his way through and down turn 8 towards this kink, which is turn number 9. Turn 10 and then into the right-hander, which is turn number 11. And I mentioned earlier, Giuseppe Romelli going to come under some pressure from Corinna Gosner shortly, who's right on the Giuseppe Romelli car now. And there's Corinna's father, Thomas Gosner, who's being hounded by Agata Smolka, which is for pride on the track rather than any difference in terms of class, because Agata Smolka is a Shell AM driver, Thomas Gosner a Shell driver. And we're on to the final lap. So Ernst has one more lap to do. He's made it through turn number 1, heads towards turn number 2. So Kirchmayr, who has not really put a foot wrong in the race, affected by a safety car start, and then the safety car brought out again for the recovery of the Eric Chung and Christian Kinch car. Heads now through turn number 7. And brakes for turn number 8. The left-hander there keeps the wheels off the painted area, which affords no grip whatsoever. You're far better off being on the black tarmac. Now heavy braking again for turn 11. Around to the back of the circuit. This is turn number 12, which leads into turn number 13, which is this long, sweeping left-hander before heavy braking for turn number 14, the final turn, and the turn where Ernst yesterday just got called out and the back end ended up overtaking the front end, but no such mistakes from Ernst Kirchmayr on this occasion, who with Baron Motorsport will head towards the checkered flag and take the win from Tanny Hanna P2. Von Skeltermar will get a P3 podium place as he crosses the line now. Henrik Jansen wins in the Shell AM class, takes P4 overall. Here comes Ken Abe. He's P5, the P4 in the shell. Laurent Demouz, good podium for Laurent. And Giuseppe Ramelli. Standings on the screen for you. And there is Tommy Lindroth, who we thought had retired, and he ended up back out there again, which is really, really good to see. So the AM winner is Henrik Jansen. And still the rain continues to come down. Ernst Kirchmayr, winner of the shell class. And the car's making the way into the pit lane. So Ernst then congratulated straight away. Race engineer. Team boss, Philip Barron in the black there. Careful up there, blooming slippery. Well done, Ernst Kirchmayr. Henrik Jansen then, winner of the AM class. So here come the highlights then. The race was started behind the safety car. And when eventually, after 2 laps, the cars were released into the really murky conditions, Eric Chung, unfortunately, ended up in the gravel, which sent out the safety car. And again, when the safety car was out, Ernst Kirchmayr had to do exactly what he'd done from the safety car's start, and that is build as much of a cushion as he could over Tanny Hanna. Agata Smolka was in an overtake mood, but then it was just a touch from the car of Alex Fox. Thankfully, no harm done. Corinna Gosner was bold and brave against Murat Kuhadaroglu, but paid the ultimate price. And Murat Kuhadaroglu himself with a big slide. And Corinna having to go through the gravel. The car of Alex Fox sideways once again, but in a straight line to the checkered flag. Ernst Kirchmayr would take the win in the shell class, and Henrik Jansen for the AM class in Coppa Shell. So discussions going on there. Here's the top three in each class then. Ernst Kirchmayr, Tanny Hanna and Fons Skeltermaal taking the 1, 2, 3 in the shell. And in the AMs, it was Henrik Janssen, Laurent Damouz and Giuseppe Ramelli taking the 1, 2, 3. And we will be seeing those drivers up there on the podium in receipt of those cups in just a moment. There is the Fons Skeltermaal car number 177. And the podium being ready just above where the cars have parked up. Confirmation of the full classification in terms of the Shell drivers. Kirchmayr, Hanna, then Skeltermaal, Abe, Gosner, Kuhadaroglu, Moser, Lindroth, and Christian Kinch and Eric Chung. Not classified. There's Murat Kuhadaroglu down there in conversation. Drivers' Championship. Tanny Hanna leading on 61 points. Ernst Kirchmayr chasing him on 50. And Christian Kinch, P3 on 44 points. Still a lot of racing to come as the drivers will head off to the Red Bull Ring, Spielberg in Austria for the next round of the Ferrari Challenge between the 3rd and the 5th of May. All the information about the calendar is, of course, available to you on races.ferrari.com. From Red Bull Ring, we'll be heading off to Le Mans in support of the 24-hour race. Then it's Nürburgring, the Ferrari Racing Days event there, ahead of Imola in Italy. And then, of course, the World Finals, where all regions of the Ferrari Challenge come together at Mugello this year. So podium about to get underway as Murat Kuhadaroglu very respectfully stands there to pass on his congratulations to the three drivers up there for the Shell podium. There is Ernst Kirchmayr, Tanny Hanna. You're on the wrong step, Tanny, come on. P2 and Fons Skeltermaal P3. And Philip Barron as team principal is up there as well. It's National Anthem for Ernst Kirchmayr.
El señor Roberto González Cachorro, subdelegado del Gobierno en Valencia, entregará el trofeo al tercer clasificado, Fons Skeltermaal.
Trophy for third place, presented by Roberto González Cachorro. Fons Skeltermaal picks up P3. Tanny Hanna picks up P2. And the race winner's trophy goes to Ernst Kirchmayr. And Philip Barron, of course, receiving the trophy for the Coppa team.
De los tres pilotos, de Fons, de Tanny y de Ernst, junto al representante de Baron Motorsport. Y vemos cómo están todos preparados para esa foto final con los trofeos de esta segunda carrera de la Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell. Y ahora llega el momento de celebrarlo por todo lo alto con el cava, con el champán de la México. Esta vez van a brindar.
Oh, that's great to see. What's the cat?
Un aplauso para ellos, para Fons, Tanny y Ernst. Tres pilotos clasificados de esta Ferrari Challenge.
Now Fons led them into a full sense of security there, and now Ernst Kirchmayr gets his own back. Great to see. Top three then of the Coppa Shell drivers. This is the car of von Skiltemar, car number 177. P2 goes the way of the 157 car of Tani Hanna here in a sideways moment. And winner is the 109 car, the all-yellow colours of Ernst Kirchmayr. So the podium is being readied now for the AM classification, which sees Henrik Jansen have a very successful weekend, 2 out of 2. Laurent Demuse on the podium for P2, and Giuseppe Romelli will be taking P3. Von Skeltemar's partner, Cyril, watches on. And in the Drivers' Championship, Laurent Demuse with an 8-point advantage over Agata Smolka and Henrik Jansen on 44 points. So Giuseppe Romelli, there is Laurent Demuse and Henrik Jansen. Congratulations all round. And here comes the national anthem. And the anthem plays out then, and here comes the trophy presentation. Gonzalo Goba, the director of the circuit, Ricardo Tormo, makes a trophy presentation to Giuseppe Romelli and Laurent Demuse. And of course, to race winner Henrik Jansen. They all get together for the photos ahead of the champagne. And that's quite ferocious.
Los hombres, los propietarios, los clientes, para disfrutar de una zona de seguridad como es el circuito de estas máquinas deportivas. La siguiente carrera.
And top three of the AM drivers' cars then. P3, Giuseppe Romelli.
Aquí hay trazado, va desde el trazado español, paso por nuestro país, de esta ya tradicional.
P2, the really rather lovely colour scheme of Laurent Demuse. And taking the win for Coppa Shell AM, the car of Henrik Jansen. So they're the 132 car, which took Henrik Jansen to 2 victories this weekend. So the next time the Ferrari Challenge cars will be out will be at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg.
Speed, short, countryside, tradition.
I
ready and you're ready too.
So that's where we're heading to next with the Ferrari Challenge. Make sure you keep up to date and up to speed on races.ferrari.com. And that's where you'll find out all the information that you could wish to know with regards to the Ferrari Challenge. But it is the very challenging Red Bull Ring next. One of the most beautiful racing circuits, if I'm allowed to say that, anywhere in Europe, in my opinion. So there, confirmation once again of Spielberg, which is precisely 1,963 kilometers from here in Valencia. If you care to join us, 3rd to the 5th of May, which presumably if you started walking now, you might do it by then. I kid you not. A beautiful location for a racing circuit, I have to say. One of the most scenic. As a backdrop, I always feel that at the Red Bull Ring. I've had the privilege and pleasure of being there on a number of occasions. Following Spielberg, we head off in support to the Le Mans 24-hour race in Le Mans. That'll be something special. And from there, it's the Nürburgring. And from the Nürburgring, we head off to Imola in Italy. And then, of course, the finale, Mondiale in Mugello. It's a packed season and a great season. Thanks so much for being part of us here at Valencia Circuit. From all of us, bye-bye for now.